The housing market has yet to heat up this summer, but that may soon change, with experts cautioning home buyers do not wait too long to put your money down. The housing market is our big story today. Wednesday, the Federal Reserve cut the Fed funds rate in half, making it the first cut in more than 4 years. Experts say that rate cut could help solve America's home affordability crisis. However, a lot needs to go right before we see that start to happen. According to the Northwest Ohio Realtors August report, U.S. home sales rebounded for the first time in 5 months. It comes as mortgage rates decrease and the supply of homes on the market increases. Experts predict home prices will continue to decline as we move into the later months of 2024. This means the U.S. housing market's beginning to tilt toward buyers. Be aware, though, the National Association of Realtors says although inventory is up and prices are falling, demand continues to outpace supply. That, in turn, is putting pressure on sales prices across the country.
Here in Northwest Ohio, we are on par with the national trends for the month of August. We have RE/MAX Realtor and the president of Northwest Ohio Realtors, Eddie Campos, with us. So home sales are increasing. Does that mean more people are actually putting their homes up for sale?
Well, we're definitely seeing more activity from the buyers that are out there, especially with the announcement of the federal rate cut recently. What we're hoping is that we will see more homes hitting the market. So if you look at the numbers today, in 10 counties, we have 1,300 homes on the market, a far cry from where we were at the beginning of the year when we only had around 700 homes on the market.
So, we've talked about the lack of inventory for what seems to be years, right? It's always been a concern. So you're saying that's not necessarily the case, but if you look back anecdotally for the years that you've been a realtor, are we still well below where we should be when it comes to available choices?
I don't even think well below is a good explanation of where we are today compared to when I started. So, I started in 2005. We immediately went into the downturn of the recession. And at one point in time, we probably had somewhere around 11,000 homes on the market in 3 counties. And today, as I said, we're somewhere around 1,300 homes in 10 counties.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk also home prices. Are they dropping, or are we still seeing those creep up higher and higher?
No, we're still seeing those creep up. So right now, we're 13% higher than we were last year. The state of Ohio is up around 5.8%, and the nation is also up. So when you compare home prices today, the national average compared to what our home sale price is today, we're still very competitive when you look at that comparison, but it does feel like they're pretty high for Northwest Ohio.
Sure, and of course that would benefit somebody that's selling, but if there's somebody out there looking for a home, do you think that that's stopping them from looking when they continue to see those prices go up?
We're definitely seeing a lot of activity still with first-time home buyers and people downsizing. Life experiences, life changes are what really is, pushing people to make a change regardless of what the interest rates are. Somebody's passing away, somebody's going into a nursing home, somebody's graduating college and getting their first job. There's a lot of life experiences that could change that situation for people and force them into the market.
When we talk about Northwest Ohio as a whole here, what are some of the areas where you're seeing the most activity, whether that's home sales, home prices, or people looking to buy?
Yeah, again, I think first-time home buyers are out there and they're pretty active. So we're seeing a lot of activity in that 350,000 market and below. That tends to be a market where people that are downsizing are kind of going into. So we see a lot of activity there. When you get to the upper end, things above that price range, the luxury end, things are a little bit slower because the interest rates are affecting them a little bit greater, right? So today, somebody could be saving $150 on their principal and interest compared to August of last year if they've got a home that's around the average sale price of $240,000. But if you're in the luxury end, that could be in a difference of $300, $500, $600 a month on a mortgage.
Sure, and as we talk about those payments, you alluded to it here this week, the Fed announced that big rate cut. So what impact do you think that's going to have on the local housing market?
I had a conversation recently with my friend Al Tinney, and, he and I kind of agreed that we're going to start to see a trend of more activity coming our way. The Fed also hinted at the fact that, we're going to probably see that some momentum going that direction even into the first quarter of 2025. So I think we're going to see more activity.
Well, Eddie, thank you so much for a few minutes of your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great one.
There are also other changes in the housing industry that are causing sellers and buyers to rethink property listings. In August, the National Association of Realtors agreed to pay $418 million to settle a series of high-profile antitrust lawsuits. That settlement also requires new rules to support a more transparent home buying process. The rules revolve around the buyer representation agreement. Before August 17th, home sellers typically had to pay a 5 or 6% commission. Now, buyers' agents must discuss their compensation upfront with a written agreement. That agreement essentially informs buyers they are responsible for paying their own realtor if a seller chooses to not cover the cost, which means there's now a lot more for buyers and sellers to consider up front.
Now you have to understand if you as a buyer have to purchase and pay for your agent representation as well, what does that purchase level now mean for you? And seller, what part of the pie do you cut off if you choose to not pay the buyer's representation, or not a lot of it, because now you could also change the amount of individuals who could come and purchase your home.
According to NAR, despite the reforms, home shoppers can still attend open houses on their own, contact listing brokers, and request information on properties. You can stay up to date on the housing market by downloading our 13 Action News app. It's available as a free download in your phone's app store.